Let's bring in VettaFi investment strategist Cinthia Murphy. And what does the reaction about NVIDIA by the market tell you about investor sentiment, and in particular for those that, like our colleague Mark Tepper, who was waiting for the stock to go into the $80 range? It really didn't, but he took some pieces of it when it got that low. Is that the last time we see that number?
Yeah, what's interesting is that we all keep waiting for the steam to run out because it's gone to such heights. Nobody can really believe this can keep going, and yet every AI story you hear, everything is powered by NVIDIA chips. So it's almost like we are a little bit in disbelief, but there's actually no other real game in town to really power up this AI revolution. So you're trying to be cautious, but you're also suffering a little bit from FOMO. You don't want to miss out if this thing keeps going to the moon. And I think it's a really tough moment for investors to figure out, do you keep betting on this stock, or do you actually risk giving up some upside and diversify away?
No, I mean, the stock is at 120, but remember, there was a substantial pullback, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So, but you're right. I mean, I guess if we do see an overall market fall or an economic fall, we're all watching the jobless numbers now, and of course the Fed. If we had that kind of watershed moment, maybe in the month of September, would an NVIDIA go down with the market, or is that one of these stocks you think that weathers a storm like this?
In truth, I think the correction we saw recently tells us that yes, it has been so loftily, valuation-wise, that it has room to correct a little bit. The fact that we go from a little correction to conversation about buy the dip, it's kind of crazy. Like, this is hardly a dip. But, that's been one of the reasons why we've seen other stocks, the breadth of the market, grow a little bit away from the Mag 7 and more into the other 493, say, S&P 500 stocks are starting to gain some momentum, because there's a sense that if things slow down, September tends to be the worst calendar month for the stock market traditionally. So if things lose a little bit of steam and you're just piled into that Mag 7, it can hurt.
Well, but it's also an election year. Do you factor that into this?
100%, because it makes it very volatile. Uncertainty is high. So we're seeing things like more value-focused portfolios. In the ETF world, it's all about diversification away from that single stock risk, which is the universe, the pond I swim in. And, so things like a fund like DUSA, funds that are like diversifying their risk, sticking with quality, but looking at the valuation a little more closely are making a lot of sense.
There are a lot of unknowns, and obviously, valuation is a big deal, and certainly volatility is on the table here. And let's talk more about the month of September, because to your point, this normally is a weak month for the market. But do you see any other factors, whether it's political, whether it's the Fed, that could maybe change
100%
that reaction?
the Fed. I mean,
it's the Fed, okay.
If we do get the first rate cut in September, as we're expecting, that should be a good supporting factor for these growth stocks to continue growing, because, we go back down a little bit more of an easy money policy again. It's a shift in that rate policy. Yeah. So it could be the curveball, although it's kind of priced in. So I think we're all going to be curious the first couple of weeks waiting for that Fed move and see if they deliver, if that cut comes, if it's an aggressive cut, and then what that means for the equity market.
Well, I think the biggest thing right now that I think for clarity would be to see the data be more concurrent with the commentary that we're getting from, say, a JP Morgan or from other, well-respected analysts, other banks that have been kind of warning us about the fragile economy. So finally,
the whole year has been, from beginning of the year outlooks to mid-year outlooks, is all about caution. It's all about diversify. It's focused on quality. It's look at valuations. But NVIDIA keeps defying that, and so I think people are trying to navigate that one foot in each boat. And at some point, you're going to have to choose a side.
Any sector you don't like right now at all?
I'm kind of happy to see tech just take a little bit of a breather here. It's, the Mag 7 are looking more a little bit like the tired 7 a little bit. It's time to give them a little bit of a break.
That's a good line. I'm going to steal it. Cinthia, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.